Hey guys, welcome to the Dealership Fixit Rundown. So this is a new thing we're starting, and here's the idea. There's a lot of news in this business and not a lot of time to read it. So once a week, I'll do the part for you. I go through the big sites in the newsletters, pull the stories that matters, and bring you the few that actually change how you run your store. No fluff, no real bike reviews. You'll never use them. Just the news that hits your floor, your service shop, and your bottom line. That's the whole part of it. Let's get into it. Let's start with Harley-Davidson. They just said something dealers have wanted to hear for a long time. They want dealers to make money again. Here's what happened. On July 23rd, Harley raised its plan for the year. They now think they'll send between somewhere around 133,000 and 138,000 bikes to dealers. But that number isn't the big deal. The big deal is what their CEO, Artie Starrs, said next. He said dealer profit should double this year. Double. Not go up a little bit, double. So how do they plan to do that? They've got a plan called Back to the Bricks. They kicked it off in April, and the idea is simple. Stop shipping dealers a bunch of bikes they can't sell. Match what the factory builds to what people are actually buying, and protect the money dealers make on each sale. For years, it ran the other way. The factory pushed out bikes, and dealers got stuck with too many. And when you've got too many bikes on the floor, you start cutting prices just to move them. That kills your profit, and it costs you money every month just to keep them sitting there. Now look at these numbers because they back it up. Harley's dealer stock is down 17% around the world, fewer older bikes sitting around. And 85% of those bikes on the floor are now this year's model. Before it was 75%. So dealers are holding fresh stuff, not last year's leftovers. Sales in North America were up 3%. That's the third quarter in a row they went up. Here's the part that I like. Starr said most dealers are now asking for more bikes instead of begging them to send them back. A year ago, it was the total opposite. Think about what that means for you. When the biggest brand in the room decides to compete on how much money you make and not just how many bikes they can push on you, it kind of sets the tone for the other OEMs. Cleaner showroom floors, fresher stock, stronger prices. That's the kind of setup where a smart dealer can actually make some real money. Now, it's not all perfect. Europe was still down, and they've got some new costs coming from tariffs, so this isn't magic. But the direction is good, and dealers, at least in the US, have been waiting for this for a long time. So that's the headline. Harley says dealers' profit doubles this year, and early numbers say they mean it. Are you guys feeling it on the floor yet, or how does it feel where you're at? Let me know what you guys think. Trades are worth more than they've been in years. Next up, used bikes, my favorite subject. The used market keeps climbing, and it's changing what your customers can buy. Here's the first number. On the powersports side, used values are running about 10% higher than a year ago. This year is shaping up to be one of the best years for pre-owned since the crazy days after the COVID shutdowns. So why is this happening? New bikes cost more than they used to, and loans cost more too. So a lot of buyers who still want to ride are looking at used because that's how they hit the monthly payment they can live with. And it's not just us. Look at the car world for a second, because cars usually move before we do. The Car Dealership Guy newsletter says the average trade-in over there in the automotive is now worth about $13,000 of what they call positive equity. So let's just explain that in English. Positive equity just means that the vehicle is worth more than the person still owes on it. So when they go to trade, that extra value works like a down payment towards the next one. Now that 13,000 is a car number, not a motorcycle number. I'm not going to pretend it's ours, but it points the same direction we're going. When used prices are high, more of your customers owe less than their bike is worth. And here's the thing. Most of them have no idea. They're riding around thinking they're stuck in their current bike. They think they can't afford to trade. And a lot of them are wrong. Their trade is worth more today than they'd ever guess. That's the story. Used values are up, trades are strong, and the trade-in wave that started on the car side is showing up in powersports too. Are you guys seeing stronger trades come through your store right now? Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by our sponsor, ZDMS. ZDMS is built for dealerships ready to embrace change and unlock their full potential. Yep. As the industry evolves, outdated systems continue to hold dealers back with slow workflows, limited visibility, and operational inefficiencies. From multi-location management and streamlined workflows to real-time reporting and improved visibility across every department, ZDMS delivers a modern, scalable platform built to simplify operations, increase your efficiency, and support long-term dealership growth, allowing your team to spend less time managing software and more time driving results. Visit zdms.com. That's ZIIDMS.com today and schedule your demo. Polaris raised its numbers too. Okay, so right behind Harley-Davidson, Polaris had a strong quarter and it raised the plan for the year. Let's run through it. Their sales for the quarter came in at about $2.02 billion. That's up 9% from last year. And they raised what they expect for the full year, up to somewhere between 7.3 and 7.5 billion. So where's the growth coming from? Mostly the work machines. Utility side-by-sides, the stuff people use on farm and job sites, plus parts. That side is now more than 70% of their powersports business. Sales in North America were up 4%, off-road was up 5%, and they grew their share of the off-road market for the 5th quarter in a row. Now, here's the part that matters for a dealership. Their dealer stock is down 8% from last year, so dealers aren't drowning in these machines anymore. And this one's big. Machines are selling 18% faster than they were in the first half of last year. Why does speed matter? Because most dealers borrow money to keep these units on the floor. That's called the floor plan. Every day a unit sits there, it costs you a little bit of interest. So when it sells faster, you pay less to hold them, and more of that sale stays in your pocket. One thing to keep in mind though, Polaris did say that they expect sales to stay pretty flat for the back half of the year. So they're not calling for some huge boom, they're being careful. But the read is a good one. Two of the biggest names in the business, Harley and Polaris, both raised their numbers in the same couple of weeks. And both of them are pointing to healthier dealers and faster selling machines. That tells you something about where the whole market is right now. Does that match what you guys are seeing on your Polaris franchises? Let me know what you guys think. Why customers blame you for the freight fees. So this next one is a fight every dealer is familiar with. The customer sees one online price, then they get to your store and the number is higher, and somehow you're the bad guy. Mark Sheffield wrote about it this week. He calls it the trust problem with pricing. Here's how it works and why it's not really your fault. The factory puts out a sticker price. That is the MSRP, manufacturer's suggested retail price. But the sticker price leaves out the shipping. So you, the dealer, pay to get the bike to your store, and then you have to add that cost back to the deal with a line for freight and a line for setup. And the customer, they look like fees that you made up. Sheffield said it well. He said dealers aren't stuck explaining charges the customer didn't expect. They are defending the fees, and the dealer didn't even create them. Now compare that to the automotive industry. On the car side, the shipping fee to get it to your dealership is just built into the price. The factory's number and the dealer's number line up. Nobody feels tricked. But in our world, powersports, they don't line up. And that gap is costing you trust even before you start talking. So here's the news part. A group called the NPDA, that's the National Powersports Dealer Association, is pushing to fix it. They want the factory to put freight right into the sticker price, and they want a real way to pay dealers back for the setup that they're required to do. They're pushing to have it all done by the 2027 model year come out. And Sheffield made one thing very clear. This cannot come out of the dealer's pocket. The whole point is to help dealers, not to squeeze them. So this one's worth watching because pricing, trust, touches every single deal that you write. How are you guys currently handling the freight conversation at your store? Do your customers push back on it? Let me know what you guys think.
Still guessing what to pay on a used bike? Still holding aged units that just won't move? It's time for a real system. Moto Hunt's ultimate used inventory playbook shows how the best dealers are finding better inventory, pricing trades right, and turning used bikes faster with fewer mistakes and more margin. It's short, real, and free to download right now. Visit dealers.motohunt.com to grab your copy or check for the link in the notes.
So here's an edge that the top dealers have, and it's got nothing to do with a bigger ad budget. Powersports Business made the case this week that something called a 20 group is still a dealer's best advantage. If you've never been in one, let me break it down. A 20 group is a small group of dealers who don't really compete with each other. They come from different towns, different states, and they all gather a few times a year to open up their books to each other and read them out loud. Real numbers, what they make on each sale, what they spend, how much their service shop brings in, how many deals they close, everything's on the table. So why does that matter? because you get to see exactly where you stack up. Maybe you find out your service prices are too low. Maybe you find out that your F&I office is leaving money behind. And the best part, somebody in that room has already fixed the exact problem you're stuck on, and they'll tell you how to do it. The point of the article makes it simple. You can't fix what you can't measure, and you can't measure how you're doing if you've got nothing to compare it to. The best dealers don't guess. They compare. A few times a year, they're sitting across the table from somebody who's doing it better, and they take that stuff home to use it. It's an old idea, but it still works. And in a year where everybody's fighting for every point of profit, knowing your real numbers is a bigger deal than ever. So let me know, are you guys in a 20 group? If so, which one? And has it actually been worth it for you? Let me know what you think. Honda is recalling the CBR600RR. Okay, this one's for all the Honda powersports dealerships out there. Honda said it's recalling the CBR600. It covers the years 2024 through 2026. And here's the problem, according to them. The engine can burn through too much oil. If it runs low and nobody catches it, the engine can lose its oil, lock up, and seize up. That's about as bad as it gets for an engine. It actually started with a recall over in the United Kingdom earlier this year, and now a recall is rolling out in the States too. And the fix goes through the Honda dealerships. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. A recall sounds like a headache. Warranty work, nervous customers calling in, more stuff on the pile, and sure, it's work. But flip it around just for a second. A recall is one of the few times you've got a real reason to call a customer up and they're actually happy you did. You're trying to look out for them. You're keeping them safe. And that's a good phone call to make. So if you've got a CBR600RR owner in your system and you are a Honda franchise, this one is to know about. That's a recall, 2024 to 2026 models, an oil problem that can lock up the engine, and the fix runs through your service department. Let me know what you guys think. When a recall comes down, do you treat it as a hassle or as a chance to get some more customers through the door and try to upgrade them? Powersports gets its own room at SEMA. If you've written off the SEMA show as a car thing, this year is worth a second look. SEMA is adding a section just for powersports at its 2026 show in Las Vegas this fall. And the signups just opened. Accessories are some of the best margin dollars in the store, so a show built around them is worth knowing about. Plus, we've got OEMs out there, other tech vendors. Think about it like a secondary to all the other trade shows that you've been to, but this one just happens to be the biggest in the country. Are you guys planning to make it out to SEMA this year? Let me know what you guys think. E-bikes knock on the door. So there's a new player in the electric space, and this one is aimed right at dealers. A company called N+, just launched a line of e-bikes with Volkswagen's name on them, built around safety tech you can connect to. The pitch that they're trying to make to dealers is that these aren't just bikes on a rack. They come with add-ons to sell, setup that you can charge for, and a new kind of buyer, the city commuter. Electric keeps creeping into our world, so this one is to watch. What do you guys think? Would you ever put these e-bikes on your floor, or is that just not your customer? Most dealers measure training wrong. Motorcycle Powersports News put out a piece this week that's worth a couple of your minutes on how dealers are measuring training. Their point is that most dealers measure the wrong thing. They check if someone passed the class, but what really matters is whether their training changed how that person works on the floor or in the shop. Passing a test is one thing, doing the job better is another. And when training costs you time and payroll, that's kind of the difference between money well spent and money wasted. So let me know what you guys think. How do you guys measure your training at your store? Here's a small one that says something bigger about how bikes are moving. Royal Enfield did a limited first come, first serve drop of the Shotgun 650. The whole US got just 10 units. Canada, they got 2. Whether or not you carry the brand, drops like this build hype and give dealer a reason to start a wait list. So what do you guys think? Whether you carry Royal Enfield or not, do limited drops actually move the needle for you, or is it all just hype? Okay, so in other news, Harley got a new cruiser worth knowing when customers start asking. The 2026 Harley-Davidson Deadwood, it runs the big Milwaukee 8 117 engine, comes with modern rider help, and leaves room to add Screaming Eagle upgrades later. Early word is that it's been a good release. Nothing fancy here, just a fresh bike that pulls people onto your floor and gives your salespeople something new to talk about. How do you guys like the Deadwood? Pretty neat machine. This episode is brought to you by ZDMS. Okay, guys, physical inventory. Most dealers do it once a year. Some avoid it altogether. And honestly, who can blame them? Closing the store for days, paying staff to count parts, and still ending up with inaccurate data, it's a painful process that costs time and money. ZDMS changes that. With RFID physical inventory, 1 or 2 employees can complete a full store count in a single evening. No closing, no disruption, just pull the trigger on a handheld scanner and walk the floor. No line of sight required, no climbing shelves, no bending under counters, just fast, accurate counts feeding directly into your ZDMS system. And because it runs inside ZDMS's perpetual inventory system, your data is always current. That means better analytics, less obsolescence, and fewer lost sales. This is the technology powersports dealers needed, and ZDMS is the only DMS in the industry to build it. Talk to your ZDMS rep today, or to learn more, visit zdms.com/fixit.